Le Nissan Kick-Play 2025 a beaucoup de plus. Apple CarPlay intégré pour jouer vos tunes préférées, des fonctions avancées de sécurité, un rendement énergétique remarquable, puis même la petite odeur de char neuf qu'on aime tant. Tout ça en plus pour moins. Le Nissan Kick Play 2025 est le véhicule neuf le plus abordable au Québec. Achetez-le à partir de seulement 22 774 $, incluant un rabais à l'achat comptant de 2 600 $. Profitez de cette offre avantageuse chez votre concessionnaire dès maintenant. Jusqu'au 2 mars, des conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
Bill 21 back in the courts this week. Everybody appealing the previous ruling. Of course, many groups in court this week arguing against Bill 21. The government's even in court for the couple of things that they lost on in the previous ruling when it comes to English school boards and MNAs in the National Assembly wearing religious symbols. Even the government is back in court on this one, appealing that ruling as well. And this week in court, a lawyer for the English Montreal School Board said that Bill 21 is an affront to the dignity and values of the Anglophone community. They state religious diversity is a way of life in Quebec's English schools and should not be restricted. With more on this and with more on their fight against Bill 21, let's go to Joe Ortona, chair of the English Montreal School Board. Joe, welcome back to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you here. Now, listen, you made the lawyer for your school board made some very lofty statements there. You know that Bill 21 is an affront to the dignity and values of the Anglophone community. But you know that's a big statement here. So let's talk about that. What's the data? What do you have behind you to back up that claim?
Well, I think, first of all, overwhelmingly within the English-speaking community, there is a strong opposition to Bill 21. So we obviously, I think we're secular as well. We believe in religious neutrality, but we don't believe it should go as far as what the state wants to impose, which is, limiting what people can wear to the point where they can be either denied employment or even removed from their jobs. And what we see with Bill 21 is that it isn't, even in the law itself, isn't neutral in the religious sense. I mean, the people who passed Bill 21 say, no, it bans all religious symbols. But really, the law targets and disproportionately discriminates against Muslim women. And the data shows that everybody, all the data that's been collected from various school boards, all of the people that have been removed from their jobs, have had to be reassigned, or that have been denied employment are all Muslim women.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the government makes the argument here that in order to have a better future, better life for all Muslim people in the province, you've got to do things like this. That's their argument on that side. But I want to get back to your argument here on that this is an affront to the Anglophone community, right? So have you polled your parents? Have you polled your students? Because, you're saying it's for the entire Anglophone community here. Back to the data here. If you're going to make that claim, aside from anecdotes, because I can come back with anecdotes all the time. I hear from listeners who are, recent immigrants from Algeria and Tunisia and Iran, and they're like, please, Elias, thank you, Bill 21. But that's anecdotal. It's not evidence here. So do you have evidence that the community is 100% behind you here?
So let's make one thing clear. When we're talking about rights, you don't need a majority to be behind anybody. Rights are rights, and they are to be respected. And I think that's the point here about Bill 21, that Legault keeps hammering, there's a consensus. There's a majority that supports this. It doesn't matter if a majority supports it. A majority doesn't get to trample on a minority community's rights. That's why we have a Charter of Rights. They're specifically designed to protect the minority. So the question here is not whether all of the English-speaking community supports our position on Bill 21. The question is, does Bill 21 infringe on our right as a minority school board to manage and control our system by having these conditions that are arbitrary and that are discriminatory imposed on us to be applied in terms of a hiring practice? So we have to, ban hiring teachers that we think are qualified on the basis that they were a religious symbol.
So what do you say to all the groups? Because this week in court, tons of groups that are very much in favor of the bill, the Mouvement Laïque Québec, which says they've got parents on their side that want to send their children into schools where the state remains neutral. They bring up I think the very relevant issue, because you're talking about rights here. If you have a student, you have a 14, 15-year-old who's part of the LGBT community, and they have to have a teacher that's represented that is wearing a religious symbol that tells them they should either go to hell or maybe they shouldn't even be around. They have rights too, right? So what do you say to the laïque groups in Quebec, the women's groups, the LGBT groups that have come out in support of the bill? What do you say to them about their rights?
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, we understand and we recognize and we celebrate the fact that there is diversity between among our student population. And we've never had a complaint in our school board by a student or a parent about a teacher wearing a religious symbol. So I want to put that out there, first things first. Secondly, we have to understand that rights apply to individuals, and those rights are yours to exercise. They're also yours to waive or not exercise. But they're not yours to impose your vision on other people. Like this idea, we understand that there's freedom of religion in Canada. It's in the Charter of Rights. And if you choose to be irreligious, you choose to be agnostic or atheist, that is entirely your right, and I recognize that. What's not your right is to say that, my freedom to be irreligious means that I have the right to be free from seeing other people express their religion. That's not a right that exists. It doesn't exist. And a teacher who wears a religious symbol does not mean that the school board is of a particular religion or that the state is of a particular religion. All it demonstrates is that we are a multicultural society, that we are diverse. There is diversity of opinion, of religion, of cultures, and that we can all coexist together. And that's all that it expresses.
And Joe, listen, we are running a bit out of time, and your points are taken, but I keep going back to grade 7 at Lauren Hill Academy and being given an assignment, group work, right? And we had to the whole class had to do presentations on all the religions, and one group was given atheism. And lo and behold, I'm on that group, right? And I still remember the presentation that we delivered, and I wonder if I could have given that presentation in a classroom with the teacher wearing a religious symbol very clear where she stood on the issue. It's so unique. I'll ask you one question here, Joe. On this week, on your lawyer and how it went down in the courtroom this week, how do you think it went this week for the EMSB in the courtroom?
I think it went as well as it could possibly go. Obviously these are very important issues and difficult issues, and there are a lot of points of law, and we're going through the history and the Constitution and the intent when the charter was drafted and all of that. So it's normal. The Court of Appeal had a lot of questions for all of the parties and their judges, right? I mean, they don't demonstrate a preconceived idea while you're there pleading. So it's very difficult to say, which way any of the judges are leaning. But I think our lawyers pleaded exceptionally well. We've been confident all this time. That's why we've contested the law to begin with. We remain confident, and it's in the hands of the courts now. So we're just going to wait and see.
Thanks so much for your time this morning. We'll talk again real soon.
Thank you.